Peoples, good afternoon. Today is Thursday, December 14th, and I am here with your geopolitical news. Right now, I want to bring your attention to a story that was brought to my attention by a friend of mine, and I found it on the YouTube platform. Second black man buried in Jackson, Mississippi without family knowing. So now I'm going to play a little bit of this for you guys to hear and get some contrast about what I'm about to get into.
Hmm. New reporting by CNN affiliate WLBT has now revealed a similar case. 40-year-old Mario Moore was killed in February, buried in the same pauper's field where Dexter Wade was buried. Moore's family did not find out about his death until October, after seeing his name in WLBT's reporting on more than 20 homicide victims that Jackson police did not disclose to the public. Joining me now is the investigative reporter who brought this to light, CJ Lamask.
So now, the Jackson police did not bring this to this family's attention. So you buried this person without this family's knowledge. This is preposterous.
With CNN's affiliate there in Jackson. CJ, good to see you. This is, I want to say unbelievable, but not. It is heartbreaking. Tell us this story because unlike Dexter Wade, who was killed by an off duty officer, uh, this man, Mr. Moore, was found dead and then reported to police. What's his story?
So the first guy was actually killed by the police. So think about that. The police protect and serve. The very same police kill an innocent man and then cover it up by burying him unbeknownst to his family. You can't even make this up.
So what happened here is a situation where he was killed by blunt force trauma. That's what we know. He was found wrapped in a tarp on a street in the western part of the city. And at that point, police claimed they did not. There were conflicting reports as to whether there was even ID found on him, but suffice it to say, it took some time for them to identify him. But at that point, all we know from the captain who was in charge of detectives for the department, he told us in an interview that essentially they sent a detective to a home that they found in connection with Moore. They left a card.
It's like, yo, man, it's like, stories like this, when you hear them, it's outright unbelievable. This is America. These are things that you expect to hear coming from a third world country, coming from a country that's under some type of dictatorship or some type of brutal regime or something like that. This is not a story that you would expect to hear coming from the United States of America.
And that was it. There was no follow up. We pressed the captain for this in one of our interviews, and he didn't really have any explanation. He said, "Well, that is sufficient." Now we know now that since all this had happened, since NBC and other national news agencies have picked up the story as well, that now the city of Jackson, the police department, for the first time has a death notifications policy, a 6-page policy. So that came out of this, but it took the family not.
So you mean to tell me that now you have a disclosure policy and that just came out of this? And for some strange reason, I get the notion that this individual that's speaking feels like that's a step ahead. It's almost laughable.
Finding out about this until October for any of this to happen and for the ball to be rolling. And I got to tell you, Victor, this is something. It was one thing for us to find out that there were 24 individual victims, 22 cases, that the public, that we had not been told about. But to find out that one of those was a situation where the family wasn't told either, it like you said, it's heartbreaking. You can't fathom that.
Yeah. Let's listen to Mario Moore's sister, Marquita, here on what she expected from police.
This is all, just really heartbreaking. You understand what I'm saying? Like, for you to hear that a police force, a police department somewhere in the United States of America is actually that underserviced. Like you're actually that neglectful that you are making mistakes. critical mistakes. And some of these things I would go as far as to say are outright criminal. So they're not even mistakes. They're criminal acts.
How many times do you come back to notify the family if you did come here? Did you come back the next day? Did you try to follow up on your report?
And so, what is the department doing now? These 24 individual victims, we now know that Moore's family has been notified. Are they trying again to reach out to the next of kin of these people?
So at this point, we don't know. In fact, the department has, as you might imagine,
I can't imagine that felt even remotely comfortable for him to say. We don't know. Like that had to be very uncomfortable to just say just now. We don't know.
been fairly tight-lipped since these investigations have come forward, since these two cases in particular have garnered such national attention. The department only speaking through a city spokesperson at this point. But it seems, at least going forward, that this will be happening. But even when I tried to get information about these 24 victims, so we could even put that out there to try and help detectives, because you would think that detectives would need that information to the public so they could garner leads, so they could look forward to developments in the case. We got very little. I'm saying,
Yeah, blah 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 blah. This is outright ridiculous. I can't even believe that I'm covering this story. But when I seen it, you can imagine my surprise and my disbelief at what I was hearing. In other geopolitical news, Al Jazeera reports Israeli official says no statehood for Palestinians. Israel's ambassador to UK has said her country will no longer accept a two-state solution after their war on Gaza ends. That's a very profound statement.
But is there still a chance for a two-state solution? I think it's about time for the world to realize the Oslo paradigm failed on the 7th of October, and we need to build a new one. And in order to build a new one... Does that new one include the Palestinians living in a state of their own? Do they have a state? The answer is absolutely no.
Well, I guess you guys just heard her answer. And so there's no room for the Palestinians as it relates to how the Israelis feel. The Israelis now feel there is no two-state solution on the table. There's no two-state solution possibility. They only want a one-state solution possibility with only Israelis and all of the Palestinians gone. In other geopolitical news, Al Jazeera reports 3 Japanese ex-soldiers convicted in landmark sex assault case. The 3 men will serve 2-year suspended jail terms for the 2021 attack on female colleague Rina Gonawi. I pray I said her name right, but I know I probably didn't. Once again, this is another story where it seems like justice is always fleeing. Like justice is never in the right place at the right time. And so These three individuals get to serve 2 year suspended jail terms. So they're not even going to jail. And who knows if they got to register as sex offenders or whatever may have you, but that doesn't even matter. They're not even going to jail. They're not serving no prison time. They're getting suspended sentences and they get to go live the rest of their lives as if nothing ever happened. You want to know what makes this situation worse? The fact that they said that they were colleagues of hers, which means that they were all soldiers, I believe. And so when you put that into context, colleagues of hers all being they're all being soldiers, and this happens to her. These men were very well supposed to be her protector. These men were very well supposed to have her back. These men were very well supposed to have the ultimate bond with this female because they're in something that requires them to be 100% dependable upon each other. So, guys, let me know how you feel about these things. Did you know about any of these stories? Was you privy to any of it? Drop a comment in the comment section. Let me know how you feel. Once again, always remember, stay vigilant, stay safe. Peace.